So Donald Trump has said some things that got South Africans worried and even fighting. Question is what Trump said true, or is he simply misinformed?
It's only South Africa. Terrible things are happening in South Africa. The leadership is doing some terrible things, horrible things. So that's under investigation right now. We'll make a determination. And until such time as we find out what South Africa is doing, they're taking away land, they're confiscating land, and actually they're doing things that are perhaps far worse than that.
When Trump started saying these words, I thought, this guy's taking it too far. Obviously, no one has taken the land without compensation. Here is one of the social media posts, and it reads, South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. A massive human rights violation at a minimum is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of the situation has been completed. I said to myself, obviously Trump is misinformed. Upon closer inspection, I realized that I am the one that is misinformed on that front. Just a few days ago, the SABC reported on this event. Take a look.
Residents near Chichu Valley have started to build shacks on newly invaded land along Matala Road between Seshego Extension 76 and the Blood River Bridge. More than 200 shacks have already been constructed, and the leader of the group is giving interested people a 2-week deadline to build temporary structures on the illegally occupied land. The group says they have taken over the land and allocated it to the people for free to use for housing purposes. They say the new Land Expropriation Act has emboldened them to take matters into their own hands and occupy land which they see as underutilized. The group's leader says around 5,000 stands have been allocated to the residents, with more expected to be allocated to residents in the coming weeks.
We are going to continue to expropriate the land without compensation.
So while people will say the law does not allow expropriation without compensation, the question is, what happened to people who expropriated land without compensation? It doesn't look like there is anything happening to these people. What happened instead? They become celebs. They are given interviews. If land grabs are illegal, then why are the lawbreakers not getting in trouble with the police? Even if the land is owned by the government or by a criminal, should there be no process to distribute the land? Should people just occupy anywhere, anyhow? Obviously, we need law and order.
This program of land grab to take the land without compensation has been there in the Freedom Charter long ago. We also applaud the president for coming out and then saying the very same thing that we were also crying about the land grab, because we need to get our land. The land is here, people, they don't use the land. We as the youth, we are fighting in our homes. We are so many. We sleep under the tables. We sleep in the kitchen. When someone wants to make tea, he comes in the kitchen and then you wake up. So we are fighting. So we must get this land, and then so that our lives can be better.
So imagine the audacity of a criminal enterprise televising their crimes on national television with nothing happening to them. They are doing it boldly right there for everyone to see. Why? Is it because they want more people in the country to copy this? What is the meaning of this, honestly? And guess what they are using as a reason for doing this? The recently signed Expropriation Act. Imagine that. The same act that does not allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. Yet these law experts have already read that law and come out with the understanding that the law allows them to expropriate whatever free land and occupy it.
So we are going to grab each and every farm that no one is using for it, because this land belongs to our grandfathers. So we are not going to stop. We are continuing to give people the stands. So far, so good. We give people plus minus 5,000 shacks.
The group says they've been waiting for years for the government to address the issue of land reform. They say the new Land Expropriation Act signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, allow them to take over pieces of land not in use.
This land belongs to our grandfathers, and he's done. In a few months or years, their complaint against the municipality will be that they are not being given water, electricity, and sanitation. The municipality will only take action when the illegal occupation extends onto the municipal property.
We don't have a place to stay, and there are many of us at home. There is land nearby that is not being utilized. This land does not indicate any ownership, and there are no signs of livestock or farming activities taking place. It is simply a large, vacant plot of land with no development or use.
Polokwane municipality says the two invaded land properties belong to private owners, and any claims that purpose municipality permission are false and misleading. The municipality has warned people against unlawful occupation of land, and that should illegal occupation extend onto municipal land, it will enforce bylaws.
Imagine that. They won't stand up to lift a finger to help the private property owners. Zimbabwe did not grab farms with Mugabe leading the charge. A similar group of people were used to attack white people in Zimbabwe. These Zimbabweans you see serving white people diligently here in South Africa, accepting jobs from white people here, come from a place where citizens spoke like this regarding white people.
On the streets of the capital, Harare, increasing...
We want the land. We have promised each other, we can say, us with Mugabe or us with the government.
When Mugabe was asked about the land seizures, he acted like he had not approved them. Even when the land was occupied in Zimbabwe, it was through disorderly criminal behavior, with the courts ruling against land invasions. Mugabe simply kept quiet. The hatred for white people in Zimbabwe was similar to what we see right here in South Africa. Fellow citizens, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it.
Maybe somebody can say it's intimidating, but I was telling him that we are here now to occupy the farm.
These political parties have too much money that they can use to buy food parcels or beers and pay for buses or taxis to carry people to places and get them to do things that they don't even have to believe in. Have you ever seen that whenever any politicians, be it members of the ANC or the MK party, the DA or Action SA or even EFF go to places, there are these people who are there in large numbers. Their job is to show up wearing party t-shirts, chant and sing, acting like they are in full support of the politician. They may be promised lunch, free transport, and a few runs in exchange for supporting everything the politician says. These kinds of people will typically be jobless people with nothing going on in their lives. They are simply used by political parties for the cameras. They are used to make it seem like there's a lot of support for the politician. You'll see it anytime that characters like the Zumas are taken to court. You'll see it when the DA wants a toy event. You'll see it when the ANC, EFF, and many others want that support shown on cameras. The same way that land was seized in Zimbabwe is the same way that land has already been seized in some parts of South Africa. One way to know when it is happening is through the actions, or should I say inactions, of the politicians. They will act like nothing is happening. This occurred when people believed that ZANU-PF was at its weakest, when Robert Mugabe was viewed as finished politically. Guess what? The ANC is viewed as weak and finished right now, the same as Cyril Ramaphosa. Right, we should be concerned. We should be praying for our nation, fellow South Africans. Another thing I also want to mention is I'm trying to buy land for myself. For me to buy land, the banks in South Africa want 30 to 40% deposit up front. They're only willing to give me a bond of 60 to 70%. But when I bought my house, I didn't have to put up a deposit. Right now, I can get a loan of 500,000, but if I say I want to buy land, the banks are making it harder for me who wants to go at it the right way. I mean, where are we who want to buy land expected to find 40% of 1 million or even 40% of 400,000? This is very, very strange. The ANC could have made sure to give out all the land that they bought, but they didn't.
What has happened in South Africa, which is interesting, is that since the period between 2006 up until to today, much of the land that the government has bought under what is called land redistribution, our land reform has about 3 legs: restitution, redistribution, and tenure.
Yeah.
Under redistribution, the government has accumulated about 2.5 million hectares of land. 2.5 million hectares of land, to get a sense of how big it is. With all of our grains and oilseeds that we produce in South Africa, we are producing them in about 4.5 million hectares. So that gives you a sense.
Wow, okay, that's a lot of land.
That land has not been transferred to black South Africans with title deeds.
They could have made sure that they facilitated our claims at the Land Claims Court well, but they didn't. They could have made sure we are not shut out of buying land, but they didn't. Instead, banks are making it harder for the majority of the middle class to buy land at all. But they will give you 1 million rand to buy a flat, a townhouse, or a standalone house without even putting any money up front. But they want you to put up 40% for a piece of land with nothing on it. It's almost as if they're making it so hard so that the poor and middle class can feel the need to take land by force. People feel deprived of something that is so highly desired. It's as if both the banks and the government are intentionally making it harder than it needs to be. Meanwhile, we as people are also not disciplined enough to band together to increase our buying power. Anyway, that's it for today. If you don't mind, please like and share this video far and wide. Please subscribe to our channel and join our channel membership. And of course, get onto our website, www.citizenconcern.co.za, to buy your t-shirt. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Katlego. This is Citizen Concerned. And until next time, beware of the comrades.